Hi everyone. So today we are going to start the drawing for our gingerbread house in 1-point perspective. So this is an example of one, just so that you can see where we're headed. I wanted to go over those videos a little bit with you. So we are doing this in 1-point perspective, and a lot of times when you see 1-point perspective, you see like roads or train tracks or even the interior of rooms. The reason we are doing 1-point perspective for this drawing is because, I'm sorry, this is just a little sketch. We're going to be doing ours on the horizon line right here. When you get into 2-point perspective, it gets a little weird. So we're just going to do a simple house drawing today. If you are drawing along at home, please select a blue crayon or a pencil. You can draw with a regular pencil. I personally, for this project, like drawing with a crayon. You can also do this on your tablet as well. So, to start, we are going to ever so lightly put our horizon line in. Doesn't have to be perfectly straight. And we're going to manage that our vanishing point is off the paper over here. We're not getting super particular about it, but we're going to go ahead and draw 3. Well, actually, let's start with 2. Vertical lines. This is going to be the front of our house. Let's pretend our vanishing point's right here. Lightly draw the top of your vertical line to your vanishing point to your vanishing point. Then we are going to draw another vertical line, chopping that off. Don't worry about this if you're drawing with crayon. We're going to be fiercely coloring over this later. You won't even notice. So we're going to use this as the front of our house, and it's going to be a long gingerbread house. You could do it however you want. I just prefer having my door right here. So on top of this, I'm going to try to make sure they're about even. I'm going to draw a V, and I'm going to extend that past this diagonal line. I'm going to do it fairly tall because I'm going to take the tip of this roof to the vanishing point too. Just roughly. Doesn't have to be perfect. Guess maybe my vanishing point's more right here. Then you're going to imagine you're taking this diagonal line and sliding it down. A lot of times people want to turn the line or make it too sharp. Take your finger, don't change the angle, and literally slide it down the paper. So this is my roof. Boom. We're going to go ahead and put our icicles in now before we draw this bottom of the roof in too much. So icicles are super easy to draw. Think of dripping slime. So kind of wavy. The trick to this is making sure that they are always being pulled down by gravity. So they are always pointing down. Gonna lightly draw in this line here because here's my icing. And as I'm moving further away, notice how big they are here. I'm starting to make them a little bit smaller because as things move away, they get smaller. All right, so we have our walls, we have our roof. Let's put in a chimney. Okay. Do I want it up here or back here? I think I'm gonna put it back here. So again, vertical lines, they need to be going straight up and down. I'm going to pretend it's on the opposite side of the house. To my pretend vanishing point over here. Dot, slant, and let's icicle it up. There it is. All right. Now we don't have to worry too much about perspective anymore. We're gonna play with it a little bit here and there, but not a ton. So let's go ahead and put in our door. In my gingerbread house, I'm going to have a curved door. I'm not drawing the bottom of this yet because we're going to do some fluff, I think it's called, like marshmallow fluff and steps. Maybe I have a window. I could have, I think I'm going to have another window actually above. And a trim here. You don't have to do that. So for example here, I have my door. I got gumdrops and a wreath above it. You could do a rectangular door. These are just suggestions. This is just my drawing. You do yours. So when I said we aren't going to worry about perspective a whole lot, what I mean is, so we have a reference line here. Let's use that for the bottom of our windows. The window that is closest to the door is going to be bigger than the one that is further away. I'm going to do mine curved, and this guy is going to be a little bit smaller. And I'm going to go ahead and put in planter boxes underneath them. And maybe this one has gumdrops around it. These gumdrops obviously would be smaller, and as you move further back, smaller yet. Okay. All right. So we have our gingerbread house. It's kind of roughed out here. We have walls, a roof, a chimney for heat. We have our windows. However, we can't really get into the house, so let's go ahead and put some steps in here. So I did a shorter, long rectangle and a little bit longer of a rectangle. Let's do one more side. And this is going to lead us, we obviously need a way to get up to the house, so how about a sidewalk coming out from the steps? So I'm going to take this and extend it out, and then instead of doing exactly the same, I am going to tilt my angle some so that this portion of the sidewalk is wider than where it meets the steps. All right, we have our house. We can get up to our house. Let's decorate along the steps. How about some gumdrops? I'm gonna start with my front gumdrop. So it's an upside down U with like a slight curve. And then all of these are behind it. This is closest to the viewer. The viewer is right here. Right here. So they're going to go back. getting a little bit smaller, not tiny. I don't have to get tiny. I'm gonna put them on this side of that line. Mrs. Shardle, why aren't you putting in the fluff yet? Well, because I don't want to put in the fluff and then decide that I want candy there. However, if it's not chocolate, I don't really eat it. So, let's see. Let's do one of those swirly kind of trees somewhere in here. How about right here? So I'm going to start by drawing like a cone shape. I think it's like a marshmallow. The bottom's going to swirl up. And it's almost like a stack of tires. Yeah. And I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of bounce underneath that. Maybe beside it has a couple candy cane, or I'm sorry, lollipops popping up. We do need a candy cane. I think I'm going to put it right here. Maybe it has a lollipop friend. I'm gonna just go ahead and do the bounce, the marshmallow fluff. I'm gonna also do my horizon line. Feel free to put in more candy. I'm just drawing a blank right now. And I feel like we need something here, so maybe all right. You know what I'm missing? I'm missing lollipop trees. Where to put them now? All right, I like it. That's my drawing. So once you have your drawing done, that technically completes day number 1 for you. I would normally at this point say, go ahead and put your name on the back and class code, but you're at home and you will be turning this in virtually, so the choice is yours if you really want to put your name and class code on the back. Tomorrow we're going to talk about coloring and Mrs. Shardle's favorite, cross-hatching. See you then. Welcome back, guys. So today we are going to start coloring our gingerbread house in 1-point perspective. And we are going to do one of Mrs. Shardle's favorite things. It is called cross-hatching. Move this out of the way for a second. So, we're just going to ignore that for right now. Cross-hatching is coloring in multiple directions. When you look at younger student works, a lot of times you'll see them outline really hard and then lightly color the inside. And that's good. Stay in the lines. It's a part of development. But you, my friends, are in 3rd grade, and it's time for you to learn how to really power color. So basically, when you were in younger grades, I called it power coloring for you. But that was my way of getting you to put a lot of pressure on your crayons, to put a lot of wax on the paper, to get a nice, rich, full coverage with your crayon. So basically, the power coloring equals cross-hatching. So, when you power colored, you might have done something like that. Cool. You got a lot of wax on the paper. Your pigment's really vibrant, and there's a lot of coverage. Cross-hatching is similar to that with a little bit more structure. So, hatching is the process of coloring in one direction. Cross-hatching is coloring in several directions over the same area. So you can tell that my lines are going this way and this way, because I can still kind of see a checkerboard in there. But now if I go in here this way, now I'm starting to lose any of the background paper. I have really vibrant color going on, and I'm really saturating the paper with wax. So this is cross-hatching, coloring in multiple directions to really get good coverage. Depending on what crayons you are using, some crayons are going to provide you a little bit better coverage than others. But any will do, really. I'm using my daughter's. Let me just show you. My daughter's hodgepodge of crayons. We got the jumbo crayons, I think. Oh, yeah, we got a twisty crayon in here. No, it doesn't even have lead. Anyway, any crayons will do. You could also use colored pencils or markers if you would like. Or some of my friends might be doing this on their iPad. All perfectly acceptable. So, a few things that I didn't do yesterday and I didn't actually talk to you about. I didn't put any stripes in my candy cane, and you might be wondering why. I don't want a blue candy cane. So I'm waiting until today to color in the stripes. She does. She has a white crayon. Yes. Okay. So the first thing that you are going to do today is color your sky. And I totally thought this was the same color, but I don't think it is. So it's not that I'm putting a ton of pressure on the crayon. It's not that I'm coloring super hard. I'm just being very focused on where I'm coloring. I am going over the same area multiple times. So a trick that many students do without realizing is going back to your younger days when you outlined and then filled it in. So that was a valuable thing to do. Outline and then fill it in. That keeps you from coloring outside the lines. So I am going to continue to color the sky, and when I edit this video, I will speed this part up. All right, so some things you may have noticed while I was coloring. You lose any lollipop sticks you have, which is fine. We will put them back in. Don't worry about it. And I did use scratch paper along the edge when I was coloring, just so that I am not coloring on my table here. I'm sure parents would greatly appreciate if you did not color on your furniture. Okay. Next, we are going to do the ginger roof. So, gingerbread houses, typically, the walls are going to be brown. So I'm going to veer away from brown. I think I'm going to go pink. It is so odd for me to hold chubby crayons in my hand. So this is the undercolor that I am doing here. I'm not applying quite as much pressure as I did here. I'm getting the color down, but I do know that I'm going to be drawing over top of it. So I am not trying to really press. Ooh, yeah. All right, let's do some shingles, shall we? So if you take a look at this example again, our shingles are basically fish scales or bird feathers or bouncy lines or letter U's, however you want to look at it. So I'm going to stir the top. Now the trick is to make sure that they are slanted. Like, they're not going to be straight up and down. They're going to be running the direction of the roof. As they move back, they are going to get increasingly smaller, remember? Except for that one. That one did not get smaller. And I'm gonna go ahead and go over this line real nice and dark. I'm just gonna go over one side of the line, I think. Now I'm going to take another shade of pink. Let's see if this shows up. Yeah. I'm gonna highlight the left side of these shingles here. I'm sorry, I totally forgot to finish my sentence. Let's do some gumdrops on top. So I'm gonna pick out some darker colors now. I have a purple, sure do. Oh my goodness. I really am not pressing that hard. And where the scallops meet, you can put some gumdrops. However, this purple is just awful. So I'm not gonna do too many of that color. Let's do some green. Obviously, I wouldn't try to cover this with, like, say, yellow. It wouldn't happen for you. So you're definitely gonna want to use darker crayons for the gumdrops. Can I fit one in there? Just throw one in there. Okay. All right. I'm always keeping this blue that I used handy in case I see areas that need a little bit more retouching afterwards. Onto the gingerbread walls and chimney. So I am going to, if you have more than one brown, great. If you don't worry about it. Ooh. I'm going to show you how to do this with just one brown, and then I'm going to show you how to do it if you have more than one. So with just one brown, I'm going to lightly color my brown in. Lightly, lightly, lightly. Because we are going to add some texture to this. Graham crackers, which is what most people make their gingerbread houses out of these days, have texture to them. They have like a little pattern on them. And since texture is the way how things look like they would feel if you touched them, I guess is the best way for me to explain it. We're gonna go ahead and add that in here. So if I do this lightly, I can go ahead back and do a dotted line down. If you have additional brown, you could always add a little shadow underneath the icicles to give it some depth, to make it look a little bit more realistic. So like in the higher peaks of the shadows, I'm putting, of the icicles, I'm putting it in there. And maybe just a little bit around my gumdrops of my windows here. I'm gonna save this. All right. Oh. The only thing that I am going to actually require of you in regards to color is that you color in the windows yellow. So that looks like there's a warm light coming from inside. Clearly, I'm not going to want to have like red windows. That's creepy. Green isn't really a good look. Yellow windows it is. You want to accent this? You have another yellow or even an orange. So I'm going down the left and across and the left and across for a little highlight. And we're losing a lot of our lines, but don't you worry, we're gonna get them back. I'm gonna hold off on doing that right now. I think I'm feeling a green door. All right. We have the sidewalk and then a lot of fun stuff left. So, sidewalk. Yes, it's gray. Do I care if you make it gray? No. This is an orange. Looks like my sidewalk's about to be orange. I'm gonna go ahead and make my steps the same. And kind of accent the bottom of them. I'm doing a little shadow at the bottom of the house. All right, gumdrop time, guys. So Mrs. Shartle literally always has like scratch paper to test out her crayons before she does anything. I don't know if you caught me doing that, but I'm gonna color a couple gumdrops. This pinkish color here. And this lollipop. And then I'm gonna take my darker shade of the same color and where there might be a shadow, so like this gumdrop right here would be casting a slight shadow on this. I'm going to highlight it, or I'm sorry, I shouldn't say highlight it. I'm shadowing it, or shading it, but it kind of gives it an extra pop. So if you call it a highlight, I won't fault you. And I'm gonna go around that to give it some depth. Continue this with a couple different shades. This tree here, let's go ahead and do him green. his twists. Now, candy canes. If you have a white crayon, test it out, see if it even shows up. So this white is not terrible, it's not amazing. A couple others in here, let's see. This one's a little better. I think that's the same. In this, in school, we did paint and glitter. Unfortunately, we're not going to get to do that. So it is up to you. If you have paint, if you have glitter, feel free. Other things that you could use, if you have whiteout, of course, ask for parents' permission. Just don't go taking your parents' whiteout and using it for snow. I'm hesitant to tell you anything else really from the kitchen in fear that you might make a mess. So if you have paint, if you have whiteout, and you have your parents' permission, that might be something that you can do for snow. If not, good old white crayons are gonna work. Not amazing, but enough. And we really do not have to put a lot of this in there. If you just kind of get the top of the snow humps or the marshmallow, whatever you have it, whatever it's called, fluff. And honestly, I kind of like that it's smearing the blue. I'm gonna go ahead and put my stripes on my candy cane. Kind of brings the whole thing together, doesn't it? And I didn't even worry about the white there. I'm gonna do a yellow over here with body. So last but not least, because I have to go, is you're going to take your initial crayon and go over all your lines really hard.